Food is so important to me, and I have so many memories, childhood memories of food. I've got a humongous family, and there's so many happy memories of family events and parties and everyone coming together and everyone bringing a dish to the table. Just huge amounts of like food for big parties and barbecues. So yeah, food's always played a big part in my life. I was self-taught, really. Actually, my parents were both working when I was a child, so me and my brothers had to make dinner one night a week, and we had to learn to cook ourselves, which I think was a really important life lesson. And then I went on to do food technology when I was doing my GCSEs, so that sort of then continued that, and then into adult life I've always enjoyed cooking. I'm such a creative cook. Sometimes I might start with a recipe or go to a recipe book for inspiration, but I wing it from there. And what I love doing is learning the basics in a certain cuisine. So going away and learning the basics, say like in Indian cuisine or cookery or in Asian cuisine, and then just running with that. Once you know the basics of how to make a certain sauce or how to mix the spices, then I love just being able to take something out of the fridge, and just go, what can I make with this thing? So yeah, I love just being creative. I think if you're like nervous about cooking or like you don't feel very confident, the best thing to do is go and learn the basics. So either find someone that knows those basics and get them to teach you, or go on a course, or find a book that can teach you. But things like how to make a white sauce, how to make a really good tomato sauce, how to boil rice, how to cook eggs. Because I think once you know some of those basics, and like how to make a Victoria sponge, you start to grow in confidence when you know that you can do those, and you've done them over and over again and time again. You start to go, oh, actually maybe I could try adding this ingredient into it, or do it differently, or I've not got that thing in the cupboard, is there something else I can use? And then I think your confidence grows in that way. My favourite chef has got to be Nigella Lawson. I love her love for food, and it's such a ritual. And I think food is a ritual, isn't it? It's that process of, when you finish your day to cook your dinner, or when you get up in the morning or at weekend and having a special breakfast. So I really love that the ritual of food that Nigella has, and her cheeky looks to camera as well are just amazing. My favourite type of cuisine has got to be Indian and Middle Eastern food. I really love big flavours, so I love spice. I love like Lebanese and Middle Eastern cooking with big flavours of garlic and lemon and lots of herbs. So those are my go-tos every single time. If you say, what do you want for dinner? It's going to be something like that. If I had my family round for a big family dinner, and everyone would be bringing some food, you don't get out of it. It's not a formal affair where you come round and we have 3 courses. Everyone chips in. Someone might make a starter or 2 starters. There's all sorts of different dietary requirements. Some of us are vegan, some of us are vegetarian, some eat meat, some don't. So everyone has to chip in, and it's a big, messy affair with lots of bowls being passed across the table all the time. Yeah, I think sometimes when you're busy, if you've got a family or if you have a busy work schedule, it's hard sometimes when you come in from work and you're tired and you don't want to cook. So some of my top tips are try and prep in advance. So batch cook at the weekend and freeze those, or put them in the fridge and portion them out. That's really good to go on those days when you're like, I just can't be bothered, to know that there's something nutritious waiting there for you. And the other thing is I'm a vegetarian, and the easiest thing you can do is chop up some vegetables and roast them in the oven. And every vegetable roasts amazingly. Even cabbage, people will be surprised. You can roast it, put some oil on it, salt, pepper, or spices, and then you've got the basis of a meal in 5 minutes from when you've come in. You just chop them, throw them in the oven, and then you can have it with some couscous or some bread or whatever, and and some hummus or sauce, and you've got a meal. Before I came today, I knew about Cracking Good Food, but I didn't know the extent of the things and the services that Cracking Good Food provides. And it's been amazing today to find out more about all the different things about how the organisation is inspiring people to eat healthier, to learn to cook, to try new cuisines, try new foods, and to cut down food waste as well, which is really, really important. So yeah, it's an amazing, amazing organisation that does incredible work. I think this year has been incredibly tough for so many families, and we know that there are thousands in food poverty already. So for those families, I can't imagine how challenging this year has been. And I think there are so many other people who've been on the cusp of that for a long time and have fallen into that this year. And even families who have been okay, but actually maybe you've lost your job this year because of coronavirus, and so have found themselves on harder times. So yeah, it's really sad to think that that's happening all around us. But it is incredible to see our community's response to that, and that goes across the country, but to experience it, firsthand here in Stockport is amazing. To know that when people are in need, there are charities and organisations and volunteers in their thousands. An army of volunteers ready to cook, to deliver, to provide space for cooking. It really makes you feel good about the community that you grew up in and where you're from. Eating healthily is really, really important to me. So I live with HIV. I've been HIV positive for 18 years. So ensuring that I have a good diet is really important. And I think that, sometimes people think that means you've got a boring diet, but it's not. It's so varied. I always say eat a rainbow. There's so many amazing fruits and vegetables and produce on our fingertips. And everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves, regardless of how much money you've got, deserves to have fresh produce, healthy food, and good hearty meals at the end of the day. I've been really lucky in my life. I've travelled the world, and I've experienced loads of different cultures and cuisines. But you know what? You can't beat the food that you remember from when you grew up and from where you grew up. So things that I can remember are Manchester tarts, or Stockport tarts, some people call it. Now, people will argue the toss about what that is. For me, it's pastry, jam, and cornflakes in syrup that's baked and served with custard. It's very sweet, but happy memories of that being served at primary school. Tater ash is another sort of local delicacy, which is like a stew but made with potatoes and carrots, onions, gravy, and then sometimes corned beef in it. I don't eat that anymore because I'm a vegetarian, but I've got happy memories of that. And also my grandma's cheese and onion pie. Cannot beat that. And she passed the recipe on to my eldest cousin who holds it. She is custodian of grandma's cheese pie recipe. I think we have become so accustomed to convenient food and having food on tap and having food ready for us when we want it. You can just pick up your phone and order food, instantly hot food. And that's great, but I think we've become slightly dependent on that and forgotten that, when we've got stuff in our cupboards and our fridges, it should be used up, because there is so much wastage from that. And it's not that hard. I've got myself into the habit of going, I'm not going to go shopping when there is fresh food in the fridge. Like, even if that means the meal is slightly odd, and putting some slightly odd things together, that's fine, because it's still nourishment and it's still there. And I think particularly when there are people in need of food and meals and are living in food poverty, it's atrocious to think that we are wasting it and throwing it away and not using it for good. So yeah, I encourage everyone to try, waste as little as possible, find ways to use up your leftovers, and the microwave is your friend. I think there's been a real shift, I think, in our high streets back towards people wanting to shop local and small independent businesses. I don't know whether social media has helped with that, because I know lots of people set up their own small businesses from home, and then they move on to maybe market produce selling, and then eventually they get a premises. So that's really amazing to see a return to that, I think. Where I live, in Cheadle and Gatley, there's an amazing shop that does refills, and so you're using less plastic, and you're buying your detergent and your shampoo and things from that, so you're not buying those in bottles. So wherever I can, I'm trying to find those businesses and support those people and those independent businesses, because if we don't, then they fail, and then you have to go back to some of the big supermarkets. There's nothing wrong with going to the big supermarket. I still shop at the supermarket for certain things and for the ingredients that I want to get, but where we can, we should definitely be supporting our local high street as much as we can.